Good morning, readers, and welcome to reading today. Today we are on lesson 98. So go ahead, pause your device, and find lesson 98 in your textbook. All right, let's start at column 1. Word 1 says arrangements. What word? Word 2 says congratulate. What word? Word 3 says crust. What word? Word 4 says dried. What word? Let's read those words the fast way. Word 1, what word? Word 2, what word? Word 3, what word? Word 4, what word? Word 5, what word? Very good. Find column 2. All these words have an ending. First word says sheltered. What word? Things that are sheltered are protected. If something is sheltered from the wind, it is protected from the wind. Everybody, what's another way of saying they were protected from the snow? That's right, they were sheltered from the snow. Word 2 says tarps. What word? Tarps. A tarp is a large covering made of canvas or plastic. Tarps are used to cover things like boats or sleds. Everybody, what's the name of a large covering made of canvas or plastic? That's right, a tarp. Word 3 says plunged. What word? Word 4 says tucking. What word? Let's read these words the fast way. Word 1, what word? Word 2, what word? Word 3, what word? Word 4, what word? Very good. All right. Oh my goodness, we're already on part B in our textbook. This is an information passage, so follow along with me, please. Everybody touch the title. Everybody, what's the title? Rest periods. Here we go. One rule of the Iditarod is that every musher must take a 24-hour rest at one of the checkpoints and an 8-hour rest at 2 of the other checkpoints. This rule was put in so that the dogs would not have to work so hard that they collapsed on the trail. Everybody, how many long stops must each musher take? 1, that's right. How long is the long stop? Yes. How long are the other 2 stops? 8 hours, that's right. Why did they make this rule about resting? Right, so the dogs wouldn't collapse on the trail. Chad stayed overnight at the Rainy Pass checkpoint. Was this his 24-hour rest or one of his 8-hour rests? It was one of his 8 hours. If you answered 24 hours, that's okay. It was we're not really sure how long he stayed there. But now we know, 8 hours. Here we go, let's keep reading. During the first years of the race, a lot of dogs died from injury, starvation, and working too hard. During the first year of the race, 1973, 30 dogs died during the race. Even today, with all the care that the mushers take to make sure their dogs are treated well, 2 or 3 dogs die during every race. That's not a large number if you remember there may be 800 dogs entered in the race, but it's still more dogs than anybody wants to die. What year did the race start? 1973, that's right. How many dogs died in that race? 30, yeah. How many dogs die in the race that they run now? Maybe 2 or 3, yeah. Chad had not lost any dogs when he tried running in the Iditarod before, but one of Chad's best friends lost 2 dogs in 1998. All right, find part C in your textbook. The error limit for group reading is 9 errors. Now, I know for a fact that I made an error in the information passage. If you re-listen to the information passage and find my mistake, put it in the comments of your assignment, and I'll give you half an extra bonus point. Okay, let's see if you can spot it. Okay, so 9 errors in this one. Here we go. Everybody touch the title. Everybody, what's the title? Beware of streams. Here we go. It was day 9 of the race, and Chad was lost again. What day was it that he was lost in Rainy Pass? Yeah, day 3. What day is it now? Day 9, so he's lost again. Wow, the weather must be really awful up there at that time of year. Okay. What's the number? Wait, everybody look at the map. The map shows where Chad was on different days. Touch the place that he was on the end of day 3. Okay, so he was at checkpoint 7. Do you see checkpoint 7? That's where he was at the end of day 3. And then now it's day 9. So that's where he was in day 9. Okay. He's getting closer to Nome. What checkpoint is he at? So I accidentally looked at checkpoint 9. That's not where he is. Each day goes red, gold, red, gold, red, gold, red, gold, red. Okay, does anyone see where he is? Where is he? In between what 2 checkpoints? So on day 8, he started at 16. And day 9, it looks like he's right in the middle of 18 and 19. All right, let's keep reading. After he left Rainy Pass, things went pretty smoothly for 3 days. Then the weather turned bad again. Chad's team went only about 50 miles one day and 50 miles the next. The winds and weather were bad, so that he didn't feel it was safe to try to go any farther. Today started out a lot better, but about halfway between checkpoints 18 and 19, a terrible storm moved in. Chad could not see the lead dogs, and sometimes he couldn't see the wheel dogs. He found a sheltered place and stayed there for more than 2 hours. Then he tried to move on. Within an hour, he had lost the trail. He headed north along the ocean, hoping that he would find the trail again. But as the team was slowly crossing a low area, one of the worst possible things happened. The sled was going over a thick crust of frozen snow. Below that snow is a fast-moving stream. Chad didn't know that until the back of the sled suddenly broke through the crust of the ice and fell into the water. Everybody look at the picture. The sled dog is falling into that hole. The sled is falling into that hole. The wheel dogs look like they're being pulled backwards into the hole as well. Uh-oh, let's keep reading. The air temperature was around 0. If a person gets wet at that temperature, that person could easily die by freezing. Chad got wet. The rear end of the sled plunged into the water. The front end of the sled was pointing up. As Chad was trying to climb up to the front of the sled, the snow cracked again, and the wheel dogs fell into the water. Chugger let out a cry. The team stopped. Denali and Butch looked back. Chad was up to his chest in the water. He had to get the sled out of the water quickly. Denali and Butch were the dogs that had to pull the sled out. Mush, Chad shouted. Mush, Denali, mush. Butch, mush. They did. They got low and strained as they pulled forward. Mush. Slowly the team dragged Chugger and Buck out of the water. Then the sled came out with streams of water flowing from it. So if you look at Chad in the picture, how deep is the water? So Chad is standing up there. How deep is the water on Chad? Is it waist high, chest high, or head high? That's right, it's chest high. So he's standing in the water and he can still breathe. Which dogs had to do most of the pulling to get the sled out? Denali and Butch. Yes, Denali ended up being super important, so Susie will be very proud of him. Let's keep reading. Chad was soaked. He knew that he only had minutes to get warm or he would freeze. He drove the team to a grove of trees. He noticed that Chugger was not able to pull. Then Chad quickly removed some tarps from the sled and hung them from the trees, so they made a tent. He quickly unpacked dry clothes from the sled and some emergency wood. The wood was treated and would burn even if it was wet. Error. Even if it were wet. As the wind howled and the snow blew, Chad built a fire inside the tent. It took Chad only about 2 minutes to start the fire, but he could feel that his legs were starting to get numb. A minute later, the fire was putting out good heat. By now, Chad had taken off his wet clothes, dried himself as fast as he could, and started putting on dry clothes. He stayed inside the tent until the feeling had returned to his legs. Then he went out to check on the dogs. Chugger could not walk on all 4 legs. Her back left leg did not work because her hip had failed. Chad took Chugger off the gang line and carried her into the tent. He dried her off, then put a blanket around her. She licked his face as he was tucking her in. Then he took Buck, the other regular wheel dog, off the gang line. Buck would walk behind the sled until the team reached the next checkpoint. Denali and Butch would be the wheel dogs for the rest of the race. Chad stayed at the Grove for 3 hours until the weather cleared. Then he climbed a nearby hill so he could look in all directions for the trail. He didn't have much hope of seeing it, but he thought it was worth trying. To his surprise, he saw a dog sled as soon as he got to the top of the hill. It was a few hundred yards to the east. When he took a closer look, he said, "I know who that is. It was Siri Carlson." Chad whistled and waved. She waved back and shouted something, but he couldn't hear what she said. He signaled that he would catch up with her. Then he ran back to his team and hitched them to the gang line. He put Chugger in the sled. When Chad told the team to mush, Chugger tried to stand up. Chad patted her head and said, "Not you, Chugger. You take it easy." The team went east over the hills until it reached the trail. Chad could see Siri's team about half a mile ahead of him. So he's catching up to Susie, right? I wonder if he thinks that that's where the trail is, because remember, he can't help her because that's one of the rules of the Iditarod. Okay, so let's look at our homework. All right, scholars, so here's our homework for today, lesson 98. Today we're talking all about cause and effect. So the cause is why something happened, and the effect is what happened. So let's say there was a snowstorm, and that is the cause. And the effect would be I was late to work. So let's practice one more. If you skipped breakfast and that was the cause, what's going to happen to you later, do you think? Yeah, the effect is that you would be hungry. That's right. Okay, in today's lesson, somewhere between checkpoint 18 and 19, a terrible storm moved in. The terrible storm caused something to happen to Chad and his team. What effect did this have? Okay, so we're using a direct quote here. So you need to look in your book, find the page number, and say on page, write in the page number, and then write word for word what it says the storm caused. It said the storm caused, what does the book say? Write it exactly word for word. Okay. For us at school, one effect of a terrible storm is a snow day, a bonus day off from school. What is your favorite thing about a snow day? All right. Scholars, remember that you need to have part of the question in the answer. So you can't just say what your favorite thing of a snow day is. You have to say, my favorite part of a snow day is, and then tell me. All right, have fun thinking about snow days. See you later.